Hi, kids. So I'm going to go through some of your test review that you did with your substitute today. I do have a kitty in the room with me, and she is not behaving herself, so you can probably end up hearing cat toys throughout part of the video. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about the vocabulary first. And we're going to start with the vocabulary here. So hopefully you understood what I wanted you to do with this vocabulary. My goal here was to try to get you to use these words, maybe give yourself a visual. So if I write 3x plus 2 equals 17, make it easy. That way I actually know the solution. So we can go through here and we can label every single thing in here as one of these terms. This entire situation we have here is called an equation, and I'm going to color code it because the brain likes color. The brain likes color. If you want to even get more specific, it's an algebraic equation. We can have different kinds of equations. Clearly, we're not really looking at any other kinds besides algebraic, but to be real specific, it is an algebraic equation. And what else do we got? Well, we got this thing right here. That's a coefficient. And that's one you guys struggle with sometimes, coefficient. So we need to know that one because we know we combine our coefficients when we add like terms, for example. The like terms part, I didn't give you any of that in here, so I may have to make a separate image for that one. And I guess we could also say right here that this side, just this side, is an algebraic expression. Algebraic expression. And what else can we say? What else do we have in our image here? Well, we have a variable, so we could label that. And a constant. Let's see, I'm running out of colors. And actually, I guess I do kind of have like terms here. The 2 and the 17 could be like terms in this circumstance. Or I could go up here and I could say, all right, how about x plus 2x plus 2 equals 17. Now I have like terms, and I have a situation where I simplified. Like terms. There we go. And we simplified. I'll use this lovely gray color. So we took this and we changed it to this. That's simplify. So this is a good visual. Some of us are not going to be auditory learners. Some of us are not going to be visual learners. Some of you are real hands-on learners. That's why we took out those algebra blocks. And if you liked that, come in on Friday morning and we'll do some more algebra block stuff. Some of you are more visual. Some of your brains are going to wake up with the color. We have to find these ways to figure out how to get everything through. And how about lastly, we can talk about solve. Well, when you solve, that's taking 3x plus 2 equals 17 and finding the x, and we're getting pretty comfortable when it looks nice and simple like this one with all these lovely positives and no fractions or anything. We're gonna, oh, I'm completely out of space. Divide by 3. Oh, I can't fit it. Okay, x equals 5. And then remember to check. 3 times 5, 15 plus 2, 17. Okay, moving on. I'm not going to go through every problem on these slides. You have the answer key available to you with the QR codes. I'll just go ahead and point out a few things, okay? We talked about with this equation right here, you can solve this in 2 different ways. You can solve it in 1 step or 2 steps, but both essentially have you doing the same thing. And I want us to make sure we understand that really you are doing the same thing in both of these methods. When I say 2 steps, it's multiply by the denominator on both sides. And that's, here's a quick math tip. When it's multiplying a 2-digit by 5, cut this one in half, 9. Double your 5, you get 10. 9 times 10 is 90, which is the same product as you see here. That's kind of a math counts trick, that when you look at it differently, you can see quicker shortcuts. Divide by the coefficient, and x equals 45. Now, when we do it in 1 step, which I'm going to do over here, we're multiplying by 5 halves is really exactly the same thing as multiplying by 5 and dividing by 2. It's really the same thing. And that's why you can do it in both those different ways. Now here, these are going to cancel. And here we have 18 times 5 halves. Now you're at the point now where, of course, I need you to be able to do this, but if you're going to use your calculator, go ahead and do it. Just make sure you do it correctly. Divide 5 halves, then multiply by 18. 5 halves of 18. Well, 1 half of 18 is 9, and 5 nines is 45. So we do, of course, get the same answer, 2 different methods. In this section, I want to go over 2 things. I want to remind you that when you take in this circumstance and you see this, you are not subtracting 3c from both sides. You are not adding 5 to both sides. A lot of kids come over here and go add 5. I want you to look right here. I want you to remember that the symbols here should be opposites. Okay? In a more straightforward one like this, you got g over 3 plus 4 equals 13. You can see the minus 4, and you can see that they are opposites right here, okay? Remember that this 5 right here is a plus 5. That's a positive 5. And so those are not opposites, and that will not get me the answer I need. So it's not add 5. It's subtract 5 from each side. And then we have to remember that this negative is this minus is a negative 3c. And that's a 9. From there, it's easy, right? From there, it's easy. And the other thing I want to review is this. All right, we know we're subtracting 15, but, you know, we could go ahead and multiply by 4. You could do 4, you could do negative 4. As long as you keep it consistent throughout the equation, you're still doing the math correctly. There's not going to be one right way. I think that's what bothers you guys the most, is that there's not going to be one right way. We want there to be one right way. There's only one right solution. There's no one right way. The properties of equality let you use whichever math symbol and whichever number you can in each circumstance to try to be most convenient. So I decided to use a positive 4. And 4 15s is 60. 4 28s. 4 20s is 80. 4 8s is 32. 112. And then, of course, from the rest from there. Not bad at all. Don't forget that's a negative 1 right there. All right, the combining like terms stuff, I want us to remember 2 things. One, try and make my thing into a highlighter here. Let me see if I succeeded. No, it's still kind of scribbling on it. You have to change the opacity. Opacity? Art students, help? Opacity of the marker. Hold on, let me see if I can do it paused. Okay, so I fixed my situation here. I just want you to think about what like terms means. If I had my little handy-dandy equation mat, oh, I did not mean for that to be that big, but that's fine. Actually, not my equation mat. This is my negative, positive, my simplifying expressions mat. Okay, and this is our negative section, and this is our positive section. Let's think about what this would be in the second one. Let's think about what it would be in the second one. I'll use the yellow for the y's. No, I'll use the orange for the y's because that's what the algebra blocks are, is the orange. And I'll use that green. Okay, so 9y would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's getting crowded. And negative 11y would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And negative 4 minus 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And positive 7 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is what's actually happening in that expression if I think about them as physical quantities. And then the next thing we think about is we cancel them out. Now, I'm not going to be able to cancel them out by erasing them. These carrots and peas on my screen here, I'm going to have to cross them out. Okay, I'm going to have to cross them out. So there's 9 of these, which will cross out with 9 of these. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's the same value crossing out on each side. 4 of these and cross out with 4 of these. All right, let's take a look at what we have. Let's go back to representing it as an algebraic expression. I have 2 of the variable in the negative. So I have negative 2y. And I have 3 of the units in the positive, plus 3. All right, let's go up here and let's actually just do this algebraically. What I taught you in class and in videos was that we look at this as a 9 and this as a negative 11, and we add them together, negative 2y. We look at this as a negative 4 and this as a positive, sorry, my handwriting got a little messy there, 7. We treat that as negative 4 plus 7, and we get plus 3. And hey, look at that, they're the same. So that was the point of using the blocks, of actually using those physical blocks. Okay, on this screen, I want to go over one thing. So on this problem in particular, right here, I want you to think about H's journey. Okay, think about what happened to Mr. H. We'll give him some eyes and a mouth. Hi. All right, think about what happened to him. First, he was multiplied by 2. So he's doubled. Then 4 was added to him. And then his total was taken and divided by 3. And they ended up with 14. So when we think about properties of equality, I want you to think that we're undoing these steps that happen to H. Okay, so you ever have someone tell you to retrace your steps? We're going to retrace his steps. So the last thing that happened to him was the being divided by 3. So we're going to go ahead and undo that. Oh. Times 3 divided by 3, they undo each other. They're inverse operations. Inverses, opposites. 3 14s. 3 10s is 30. 3 4s is 12. 42. Okay. What was the next thing that happened to H was that he was added 4 to him. So let's take off the 4. And that cancels out because plus 4 minus 4 cancels out. And the first thing, the original thing, going all the way back to the beginning of H's journey, was that he was doubled, so we're cutting him back in half. And there's H's identity. H is 19. And that, I guess that's the only thing I want to go over on this screen. Just also remember here, add those first before you start trying to solve it. Much easier. All right, and then, yes, these got difficult. Challenging, definitely. So hop on IXL and do some more practice problems. Go back and do some more of the ones from our classwork. You can email me with a question. You can iMessage me with a question. Do I know how to spell message? I don't think I know. Let's try that again. Wow. I did need a day off. Message. You can also ask your parents, ask your siblings for help if you need to. And bring in your questions in the morning. If we review first before the test, that does not bother Miss LeCompte. We can review first and then take the test. And that may mean that we need to finish it on Monday, and that'll be okay too. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.